I think it fits in really well with what Execration has. They have 3 heroes that can already play quick. They just need a hero that can kind of use the space they build up. Phantom Lancer is a really great response to the Keeper of the Light. You can just keep dispelling off the mischance from the blind on the Keeper of the Light. Once you have the Diffusal up with a couple of strength items, say the SNY and Heart, you can just run down and melt the Keeper. He's not going to be able to run away. You can inhibit him to take off the move speed as well. The mana pool just burns and Keeper dies. So it's a great way of handling that. OB.Neon don't have the best ways of dealing with a Phantom Lancer with their supports. Venge and Undying really don't do anything against that hero once the game goes on towards the late game. So OB.Neon's going to have to look elsewhere to kind of sort that out. They could opt for maybe just going the Ember Spirit and just running a support Kotl with Avenge off lane. Could be one possibility. Then your support duo of Keeper of the Light and Undying does feel like it lacks control. They do go with the Ember in the end. They had to go for something to handle the Phantom Lancer. They do have the Sleight of Fist Chakra combination here, so they can spam the Sleight of Fist, but we saw that last time from Execration. It didn't really amount to enough. I think with a Keeper, it has to go support. I mean, you could still go core Keeper, support Venge, but I think the Venge has bigger impact in the long term here, going for the Ags.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I do think they're probably going to run like the Pos 4 Coddle. It's be very annoying. I mean, you can still do the exact same thing. Obviously, you don't get the BOTs and you don't get a really quick Dagon, but you can still be just as effective as the Pos 5 Coddle. And well, it's like you said, just kind of support the Ember, keep spamming the Chakra Magic, allow him to have those constant Sleight of Fist flying out against this PL. The Pos 3 Venge definitely a lot stronger than, say, the Pos 3 Coddle that we did just see, but wasn't really quite amazing. And Pos 3 Venge, I'd love to see a stat, but it feels like everywhere we watch it, it just keeps winning. It hardly loses. I mean, just having a hero that just never really dies is a pretty powerful kind of trait to have as a hero, right? Like just 100% uptime. Unless they can focus your illusion. But in the middle of a team fight with all that chaos breaking out, you're not going to kill the Venge and then decide we're going to spend more time killing the illusion. You're going to start dealing with other heroes. And that kind of is where the problem is this Venge illusion just proves to be a little bit too tanky to delete quickly enough that it can still remain alive and do everything the Venge would have done anyway.
Yeah, it just makes it hard to commit in that initial jump in. Now, I believe we did see it lose in the last game, as that did go 1-1 in the last series. So it did take one loss from one of our games, but it tends to win out way more than it loses. We'll have to see if Execration can handle it. I think they have the lineup to sort of bully it out. Say, just having the Pangolier as a support in that lane sounds pretty good. Even the Snapfire gives you some aggressive posturing that you can get done there. So there are some tools from Execration to put that down. Execration are really digging into reserve time for the bans. They ban the AM, right? So they don't end up just leaving it blank, as we saw last time. And they just don't want to give that comfort hero towards 4-5-8. Now, the AM in this game, it could have still worked out. You don't have that solid control from Execration to handle an AM, but AM versus PL towards the late game does feel PL favored, especially since, well, AM can sort of clear out the illusions with Battle Fury, but once he's out of mana, ironically enough, AM with no mana is not great to play. So, maybe you have to think about that anti-mage title a bit, because he kind of needs his spells.
Execration, final pickup now for them. 1 second's reserve time, so they really don't have much time to think about this last pick, but they do need someone in the mid lane. What does Bob want this time around? Alright, we'll go the Void Spirit route. So Void Spirit versus Ember. We saw this in the last series. We'll see it pretty much immediately after. OB.Neon, not to be outdone, they do go into the Slark. So just going back into the Slark that we saw last game around for Tino. Looks like 458 will take it himself this time. It does feel like the PL is going to be able to outscale the Slark later on, but it seems as though OB.Neon already intend on having a very kind of mid-game orientated timing with their draft. And I suppose if they win out these lanes and they can get a bit of a momentum going for themselves, they should be able to make this draft work.
Yeah, they have to play super fast, though. The timings in this lineup is very sensitive. Once it starts to pull towards a late game, Execration just has the upper hand. This AoE sounds from the Void Spirit is going to be really annoying, especially for the backline on a support Kotl and a support Undying. If you manage to take them out, you lose a lot of presence from OB.Neon. I think overall, Execration did come out with a stronger draft. The PL, the only answer you really have is that Ember. And even that can be a bit nebulous, whether or not the Ember is really a true answer to Phantom Lancer, as long as you can get the Doppel off. And you have a lot of ways to build this Phantom Lancer as well. Maybe not the Octarine build, as we've seen as certain players from Arkosh love, but you could still opt for the value in the Ag Shard, keep spamming out illusions. Again, if you can get a grip on the Ember Spirit, which with a Night Stalker and Void Spirit, especially once he Ags us up on that Void Spirit, the Ember Spirit shouldn't be an issue. You do have decent silences to control up that Ember, and Mikado is really going to have to watch himself. I feel like a lot of the game is riding on the Ember more so than the Slark, so Mikado is really going to have to take over from the laning phase and hit a really early spike with, say, his Phase Boots, Orb of Corrosion, and play around with that Chakra Magic Sleight of Fist combo.
Okay, fair enough. Should be a pretty interesting game number 2. This is almost a classic OB.Neon draft, right? Like, even with the new players that are in the roster, this would be a draft we would have seen with the old OB.Neon. So there you go. I guess some things just never change, and you've still got Januel just drafting for the team anyway, so the drafts aren't going to be altered too much. And we'll get into it. Game number 2, Execration versus OB.Neon. Last time around they went against each other was just a few hours ago, and they did end up drawing 1-1. OB.Neon will see if they can at least get a 2-0 this time around, or whether Execration are going to force another draw out. By the way, John, gotta say, I do love the fact that we're seeing so many SCA tournaments coming out now. Very, very good news for the region.
Yeah, there's a ton.
There's a lot.
I love seeing it. I have to wonder if the teams are... Sorry, the Ohio just catches me out. I'm keen to... I wonder if the teams are handling it well, because, we used to talk about it with the previous Pro Series, where there'd be like 2 or 3. Right now, I think there are 4 or 5 tournaments running simultaneously. So there's a lot of games for all of our players. I'm sure it must be marathon days, but of course that means you get more practice, you get more information in each other, you can start building more strategies, adapting to the meta quicker. I think overall it's a bit of a benefit to the teams if they treat it that way.
Yeah, I don't think they mind, John. I mean, these prize pools are getting bigger and bigger over time as well, and I think the players will definitely appreciate the investment that's going into the region. And you and I know, I mean, we can't release too many details yet, but there are definitely other big tournaments coming as well to the region very, very soon. So it's great to see, is what I'm trying to say, John. Regions get better with financial investment, as we've seen from other regions. That's for sure.
Yeah. No big scuffles so far, although 4-5-8.
He's very far forward. He hasn't skilled up anything yet, so he could end up going for the pounds, but won't even need to. Just take a bit of damage on the way out. BDZ, he'll keep trying to chase him down and get more harassment. 3 bounty runes, though, are going to go the way of OB.Neon, so even if they do get all that harass out onto the Slark, ultimately they will still be able to get the gold advantage going their way. It'd be another nice start for OB.Neon.
They do start to split into the lanes, 4-5-8 up top for the Slark. He's got Johnnuel on the pause 5, Undying to help him out. Can be a really aggressive lane, especially against the Night Stalker. Snap level 1 for those 2 heroes are decent, but that's mainly down to Snapfire with her control and damage with a Scatter Blast. Night Stalker level 1 just doesn't play well. It's a strength hero against the Undying. The Slark starts off with Essence Shift, so you can just bully out that tanky hero and build up stacks. And it just makes it hard for Raging Potato to maintain a presence. You can already see BDZ just opting to pull the creep wave, get his level 2, get some steady EXP going. Because at this point in game, you're probably just going to wait until level 3 until you're really comfy here.
Bot lane. Almost dropping there on the Pango and Hustler. He actually waits for the salve usage before he commits the Illuminate. And he could have secured the kill on RR, but I believe he's done that on purpose to make it so RR just kind of sits here without any regen. Luckily for him, he still has a set of tangos, but it's not going to get him too far. Even the D-Ward's now coming out from this Keeper of the Light down to this bot lane to open up that large camp for the pools. And so far, this bot lane does seem to be going pretty smoothly for the side of OB.Neon. Not too much pressure on Tino yet, but that's besides the point. It's coming. As you can see, John, the Magic Missile and Illuminate. And Tino just has to run. As Hustler might be able to go for a second Illuminate, but won't bother wasting his mana.
Yeah, and that's something you have to watch out for. There's not much the Pangolier can do to stop that constant combination from flying out. It's not like throwing his body forward will cut off the damage flying out from OB.Neon, so Tino's just going to have to play it a lot safer, get as many last hits as he can, and not expose himself. You can see RR just cut off again, forced back all the way home by Hustler. Really good moves to just make this lane really awkward for Tino. A solo lane for PL, even against something like the Venge, early on, just doesn't feel particularly great. You do want some protection. He does have his level 3 spike, so at the least Doppel's there to save. That just means that to get the Illuminate combination off, you just hold out a little bit longer on the Magic Missile.
Absolutely. Of course, mid lane, Bob, Makoto been going at it non-stop. Just trading farm, trading some harass. Bob, he's slightly ahead on the Void Spirit, but only by 2 CS. It's not really too big of a deal. And Makoto also just doing a fantastic job on the Ember. And these two, I mean, they're just going to be trading farm. We've seen this matchup so many times. There's kill potential, but more than likely it'll be a bit of a farm war between these two until they hit those level 6 marks. As I say that though, Bob is going to move in. Nice Aether Remnant out, and he does catch Makoto, and now they might try to set up for a kill. Makoto though forced to back as Bob. He thought about going for the Dissimulate, but ultimately wouldn't have had enough damage with the bottle charges of Makoto. And it's at top lane where the first blood happens. 458, he's able to secure the kill on the Slark and gets his first point of some perma agi.
This is the issue with lane with Night Stalker and Snap. We talked about them maybe getting something more by level 3. BDZ's really sacrificed his EXP gain, and he just can't really contribute.
RR bot lane dropping as well as Tino. We'll get the doppelganger off to avoid the magic missile from Xiao Yu. But these side lanes, pretty rough so far for Execration. And we talked about this earlier on, but now you're starting to see the kills coming out. And I don't think as the levels go up, it seems like it's only going to get worse and worse for Execration.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, it's something they have to hold out on the side lanes. They need to just wait for level spikes to come in. I say that, but their supports are really held back. Like, even RR is stuck at level 1 in his Pango. It just hits 2 now. So if you can't get your supports up and running quickly, you will stall behind. They can't contribute to that lane. They can't put their bodies forward to buy space for their cores.
A nice Aether Remnant here from Bob. Makoto still going to be able to secure his CS. Just fine.
Chained in searing heat.
And these two mid laners now starting to get a bit heated up as now starting to drop a little bit lower. Looking back at 458 on that Slark, he's having a really nice time. Like 25 and 7, no real pressure, 1 kill already under his belt. You do hit nighttime now for Raging Potato, so he's going to have those bonuses on the movement speed, but I don't even know if that's really going to be enough, because 458, he's only 1 level away from level 6.
Yeah, and once he hits that spike, it's going to be hard to burst him down. BDZ does have a cookie, but the pounce is there. So it's hard to lock in the Slark for that kill opportunity at this nighttime spike. You just kind of have to get as much as farm as you can for a Raging Potato in this lane and hope that your level 6 timing lines up for an opportunity to kill.
Makoto caught by an Aether Remnant, but does end up surviving through it. And Bob's been very aggressive on the Void Spirit so far. Still is unable to find a kill on the Ember as bot lane. Oh, Magic Missile is going to land. They've got Tino and looks like they've got the kill. It's one of those things, John. Once the Doppel's gone, there's no way out.
Yeah, and it's a really long cooldown in early levels of Doppel as well. Level 1, 25 seconds. You can't really juke and jive as often, and that just makes it really hard on Bob.
Yep, Makoto going to go in for the Slider Fist and does get it. Well, Bob getting a little bit greedy in that mid lane, and he's been so aggressive. And he's usually been coming out on top with the harass, but this time Makoto, he gets the kill. He'd love the Observer Ward, but RR is around to defend and deny that. Makoto, though, he still gets it. As Januel moves in. He helps him out. Makoto just kind of getting a pretty darn big bonus on the Ember.
Yeah, he's finding the kills. He's finding the timings he needs. Phase Boots almost up. That's when his damage does get really high now. You can see 458 just manning up. He's got his ult, so he's not very scared. And it's just hard. How do you catch a Slark with a Night Stalker and Snap? Like, when you cookie, he just leaps away.
it is a very hard kill to get. I mean, you need the crippling fear to say the least, and even with that crippling fear, chances are you probably still aren't going to get the Slark unless you land that cookie. Completely opposite kind of scenario here for Tino on the PL, who is definitely very susceptible to dying and has already done so once this game. It looks like Tino, he's kind of given up on this bot lane now. It's only getting worse and worse as time goes on. He'll hit the level 6 mark and just go back into the jungle now. And man, you look at Xiao Yu on that Vengeful Spirit, John. 44 and 10 already. You see this Pango tries to come in, but RR gets swapped right into the Illuminate. He will try and juke and jive until he does have BDZ around, but it is too late. BDZ, maybe he could trade lives, or maybe not. Xiao Yu is still trying to fight back. He does get the kill, but now Hustler is going to try and chase to try and secure his own life, as the salve will be cancelled off. He does have the Illuminate, but it probably won't reach. BDZ, nice little juke there anyway. Does see it coming. So the rotation does work for BDZ, but now 458 shows up. Pounds forward, Shadow Dance is there for the movement speed, and in the end, Hustler, he'll have enough damage with the right click anyway.
Yep, didn't even need 4-5 to show up and get a nice kill. They're contesting the triangle here on OB.Neon side.
Oh, that's a lot of stacks as well. Tombstone down. That's going to clear out the stacks there as the magic missile will land onto RR. They're still trying to go back and defend, but the swap is there onto the Pango and RR. He's set to die. There's now Raging shown up. They are still trying to fight over these stacks, but Raging Potato now is going to drop. Because now Bob wants to jump in, but Januel, he just won't die. They really want this Undying kill, and they will eventually get him, but he's out of step charges. Januel, he just baited 3 heroes in on this Undying, and it was only on the 3rd hero they get the kill.
Radiant's bottom tower
It's
has fallen.
not a really good trade for Execration at all. They use a lot of resources to try and fight over their triangle control. Mikado is not done as well. He's still going.
I mean, you got this nice power spike going, this influx of golden XP, so he just wants to try and chase for more. BDZ's only level 5 at the moment as RR is going to just get hit by the Illuminate. They're going to try and turn back in onto the Keeper. Hustler, he will die, but Makoto, he'll get to work with the Flame Guard and end up finishing the kill onto the BDZ. Meanwhile, Bob is going to try and fight on the Void Spirit, and he'll make the Astral Step jump back in onto the Ember, but a nice swap out. Xiao Yu making sure Makoto remains protected, and now the magic missile will fly in Raging. He's going to try and fight. Tombstone has been placed by Xiao Yu. And eventually they will get the Tombstone. Raging still being chased down. Here is Makoto. We'll have the chains up, but we'll lose vision. So everyone kind of just survives. That'll be the end of that.
But you can see Neon are just constantly clustering. They want that mid. They want to keep forcing these fights. They know they're strong right now. Execration's getting some space out for the PL to farm. And Tino is getting some space to keep that farm game up. But 458 is occupying that same jungle. So it's not very free farm for him anyway. So in the end, PL's not able to close out this network disadvantage he has. And 458 still building up. Echo Saber almost done. Once that's up in the Slark, he can look to join even more of these fights.
Oh, Makoto. Nice chains out. Pounce is going to connect, and they've got the magic missile to boot. 458, he'll take another kill for himself. Remnants forward, Makoto. He's not done yet. He's got another chains up, BDZ. He's going to cookie over the high ground, and we'll make it back to the top lane. But now they'll go into the mid lane, where Bob is still hanging about. But they've only got those level 1 chains, though, so they probably won't be able to hold him down long enough. But it's kind of like you mentioned, John. They just want this tier 1 mid tower gone. And with this siege creep, they are going to start applying the pressure. Rotations are there. They've got the Mortimer's Kisses. They can delay the push. They've got to be so careful not to get caught out here. Especially by Xiao Yu with that max magic missile. It is a hell of a lot of damage. Who are they jumping on? They saw Hustler, but they won't make the jump in. In fact, chains are there. Bob, he will avoid the stun. 458, he ends up killing off Raging Potato across the map. Mortimer's Kisses, though, will at least get Xiao Yu. They'll get a 1-for-1 trade across the map. But they do lose that mid-tier 1 tower.
They lose their mid-tier 1. They trade a off-lane for off-lane trade, but it does feel better for the Slark because he builds up Agi stack still.
Oh, nice cookie. BDZ gonna set up there on Genuel. Makoto wants to keep going and trade supports. Might be able to secure BDZ, but RR is gonna make it rather difficult with the disarms out. Remnant is there, but he will have to force the back as Makoto is now being chased down by Bob. He needs some help at the 8th. Remnant will be juked out, but it won't matter. The shield crash is there. Hustler, he'll be the one chased down now. The keeper, and eventually should just die. BDC does end up actually going down a Hustler. RR, he will eventually get the kill, but now 458 shows up. The pounce, it's on target. It'll be another kill going to the way of the Slark. I suppose in the end, that's the last person you really want to be giving the kills over to. Dino?
It's
Runs right into 458. 458 seems to know exactly who the right one is. Bit low on mana now, and it actually has Raging Potato moving in, but Tino's almost dead. He won't go much further though. 458, he will leave him be. It just goes to show you how strong 458 is feeling right now.
Yeah, he's got a sizable farm advantage early on, at least around 1.3k gold above the PL. So it's good enough to definitely have an item advantage or something amounting to that. Like with the Echo Saber up, with his Ags Rush on 458, once the pounce is up, it's going to be harder to lock in. For Execration, you know, Tino's still working towards a defusal. Even with the defusal up, he doesn't have the stats to sustain Bob.
Yeah, chains out. Stun is going to be there. Bob, he should have time to get out, but he's very, very low on mana. That was his last step charge he could use with the mana pool he had left, but he has successfully juked them out. He will now have a TP available. Pretty nice juke out there from our Void Spirit as Tino is still trying to deal with 458 on the Slark. Does almost have the Diffusal Blade up. In fact, I believe it's on the Courier right now. And that should kind of ward off 458 from going for these dives onto the PL. Man, 458, he's been very annoying on this Slark already. You see that build up into the Aghanim Scepter. In fact, hold that thought, because Bob now is going to make the move in onto the Undying. Genuel going to try and Soul Rip and drop a Tombstone. Eventually, he will end up dropping.
Nice steady kill for Execration. Not the biggest target so far, but they are holding off the aggression. Tino again.
Well, this time 458 might need to run. Tino, double back. He is going to try and run. 458 on the chase. Has some warn charges, but no, he's surrounded. Nice bait for Tino. Even I was kind of baited in by him. I didn't believe that was going to work, but in the end, BDZ makes it in time for the cookie. They do get the kill.
Yeah, just a bit too aggressive, not respecting that Diffusal Blade timing, and not respecting that the tier 1 still stands, although Bob, just always up front, have to watch for that magical burst. The Sleight of Fist combo is almost lining up here for Mikado. I believe his full Desolator is flying in. So that's when the damage output really goes up. No, it's just the Maelstrom. So not emphasizing the minus armor. Still insane with the Chakra Sleight of Fist spam. Once the lightning procs start lining up, the damage output's going to be incredible, and that's something Execration will have to watch. It also gives him that way of clearing through the PL illusions, so when they do jump Tino, it's going to be pretty easy to melt that entire army down. Nice
stun there from Zhao Yu. Raging, he's going to keep the chase up. They do have the pig out though, and now Makoto's rotated in with the chains. Pig stick is there on the Night Stalker as well, so both of them are kind of just running away, but eventually Raging will die. RR is going to move in on the Pango with the Rolling Thunder. The BDZ is going to have to be left behind. It'll be another double kill towards Makoto on the Ember. So it started off alright. They got Hustler, but in the end, they end up losing 2 for it, and it's just not worth the trade.
Yeah, it's working out better for OB.Neon, but they're not getting much of a net worth lead from these trades. They are bleeding out enough heroes that Execration still finds something for their trouble. And of course, the space is helping Tino out. Yasha's almost done here on RPL. Going to give him more presence, more damage coming through, more armor as well. It's always nice for the PL to sustain. There's a smoke play coming out from Execration now on the hunt.
They don't have Rolling Thunder, so this would be a bit of a risky fight to try and force. Genuel's going to break the smoke, pops the ulti. Xiao Yu, he'll be getting the message to just back off, but he might reinitiate. In fact, he swaps Genuel out. Soul Rip is there. They have more help coming in, and Genuel, he's still not dead. He'll get the tombstone off before he does go down, and now the chains are around. They lock both of them down. Great punishment again from OB.Neon. And this is kind of what I was talking about, John. Like, you didn't have Rolling Thunder available to the last moments of that team fight. It was just a very forced kind of fight to go for. And they end up paying for it.
Yeah, they just didn't have the patience with the spell a bit early. Punished for it. They don't have the best control without that Rolling Thunder, although Makato,
Remnant is going to be there. He should be able to back, but really wants to play with fire.
Thank you.
Going to play on the edge, on the Ember. Eventually, we'll just go back. The rest of his team hangs around that Radiant jungle now. Still 3k net worth advantage. I mean, you've got Tino farming, which is definitely the huge positive right now for Execration. They are buying the space. In fact, Xiao Yu might just drop the bomb here as they even found the Undying. So this time around, they've got the numbers and they make the team fight work. They'll try for a third now as Hustler. Try and back his way out, and he will make it. 458, in fact, was the one who stuck around to farm the Ancients. Eventually, he will make it out as well.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
yeah. Big losses there for OB.Neon. Execration does find the better end this time around, playing with the nighttime quite nicely. No Dark Ascension, so no flying movement, no flying vision, but they still have a nice moment here to really be aggressive. Raging Potato posturing around the jungle, securing the space to clear out this mid-tier 1 and opening up the map a bit more. Hello, Bob, up front.
And jumps in. Bob, a lot of damage being pumped out already, but a nice swap out from Xiao Yu. Alright, still having a look with this Rolling Thunder, but we'll have to go for the TP play ASAP. Does make it out. So nothing really panning out there for Execration, but they do get the tier 1 mid tower, which is what they really came for. And in the meantime, it's like 458. He was trying to rush the Aghanim Scepter before that team fight did break out. Instead, they're gonna have to go as a 5-man smoke and try to make this Ags work.
Yep. This is going to be a big reveal. Hard to catch a Slark. Oh boy.
Yeah. Aether Remnant on the staircase. Tino. Oh
Tino?
no. He didn't get the doppel off right.
Oh my god.
It happens. Happens to the best of us. In fact, he was the only one left on the high ground, I think. It's so unfortunate.
Yeah, sometimes it's a dice roll as to whether or not the illusions go down or you do. This time around, he didn't manage to. And gets punished. Nice big kill for OB.Neon. Looked like they were going to miss out with the Remnant. Bob's still playing around the area. Does have a TP, so he should be fine.
Yeah, Pounce just went right past Bob somehow. Could have sworn that was the right angle, but apparently not. Mid lane, who have we got? Yeah, it's going to be BDZ. They should have enough to secure the kill, especially with this pig out from Xiao Yu. Tombstone was actually dropped, but they won't have enough to actually take it out. Just one hit away. Genuel, interestingly enough, is thinking about just leaving it there. And Bob's going to go ahead and take the gold. Makoto, he zipped through, so it looks like they were trying to bait with that. But Bob gets away with it.
3 gold. Not going to ask any questions in Bob's end. Still OB.Neon holding on to a slight lead. 1k up. The gap between our Slark and our PL isn't that wide anymore. The gap between Mikato and Bob is a bit wider at about 1.4k. It's still not enough to have a major item at this point now. So you still have tools to play with on Execration side. You're still holding off to get this PL really big. Manta is the build-up now for our PL though. Raging.
Being caught. 458. He's got the double pound. Dark Ascension was forced out. And eventually he is actually going to make the back. They thought he ran to the right, but he actually went towards the left. Hustler might get the vision, but no, it's not in time. It's very unfortunate there. Missing out on the Night Stalker kill. And now the big group up. Execration, knowing where OB.Neon are, want to try and force a team fight. OB.Neon, though, might still be happy to go for this fight as Genuel. He'll get the tombstone down before he does get rolled on, and Xiao Yu will swap him out. Still RR going to do a decent job of holding him down, but now Bob cops the stun. Dissimulate is there. Tombstone, no RR. He's stuck on the cliff, and he is trapped between a rock and a hard place. He's going to drop. And they get nothing. absolutely nothing for their trouble on Execration.
Yeah, and these are some heads-up swaps from Xiao Yu. He's got the Ags up now, so he's not worried about dying, because, you know, that's very balanced on Avenge. Save someone else, die, still use your spells. And it's that big spike for OB.Neon to play with. They are clearing out the bot tier 2. No defense coming through from Execration with that loss. And that should lead them to be able to take the outpost next. So they're going to be able to just take complete control of that bot jungle and just constantly apply that pressure. The map space is shrinking for the PL to farm up. However, Tino is still keeping up at a good pace. The gap is at about 400 gold with him and the Slark. So there's still a lot that the PL can do. He's not completely out of it. The Ag Shard is coming out next into the Aether Lens. So down the line, he could perhaps opt for the Octarine, but the Heart's going to be a priority to tank out those illusions first. And we'll see how long it takes for Tino to hit that spike. Once you do get the Shard's Octarine Heart, it can be strong, but it is a lot of farm that the PL has to work towards.
Raging. He chased down by Makoto. Raging, he's kind of out of options here. It looks like he is just set to fall. Again, all these deaths are buying more time for Tina. And that is the one positive is you can go back to the Shard's Octarine build up on this PL, and you can kind of defend indefinitely. But even then, OB.Neon are still going to try and run down this PL. We'll force him out of the triangle. Execration. We'll swap in. They've got BDZ. Solar Bind is there. 458. He'll get right to work. RR trying to help out. He will block the pounces. BDZ is still alive, but eventually should drop. But no, he gets out of there. Rolling Thunder was out in time. 458. He needs a way out. He'll just make the run, but RR is still on the chase with that Rolling Thunder. Will eventually have to leave. As the Will-O-Wisp will make it so they can't really keep fighting, or maybe they can. Bob's in. Magic Missile, though, is going to land. Makoto doesn't have enough damage to finish him off. Raging, he's going to get in with the Crippling Fury. Now Xiao Yu is down, and that Tombstone does finally end up expiring. And in the end, it's going to be a 1-for-1, as Xiao Yu and BDC have both dropped. They almost get Raging and RR, but it's just not quite enough.
Yeah, they've got some tools now to kind of get themselves out of dodge. The mech just giving them enough HP to ride through the burst, and the Force Staff repositioning is making it tricky for OB.Neon to keep that control up. I think they're going to need to get some more damage out. Our Slark is starting to feel slightly underwhelming with just the Ags. BKB should help him stand and fight, but the damage issue will still sort of remain until something else is up. Would like to see the Ag Shard to be considered here as well by 458. Death Shroud is a really busted spell in the right hands and the right circumstances. Just being able to sustain your entire team in a fight with the heals coming through is big, although...
Yeah, they've got Tina with the pounce. He's going to try and find a way out. The Force Staff, it'll be there, but BDZ now might just have to be sacrificed. It's 458, has the pounce back up. He'll move his way in. Meanwhile, to the right side, Makoto, he'll have a look for another target. Chains, they will be out on Bob. That'll be about it. The top tier 1 tower does end up falling. 458. Can he force a Roshan? I think they can. But it looks like they won't try. Instead, it's into the mid lane where they'll try and chase down Bob. He'll astral step away, but 458 is a man on a mission. Still wanting to try and go for the kill. But ultimately, we'll have to let it go.
They do manage to get the zoning out, so they know they've shoved most of the heroes away from the mid and top. They're going to go into the Roshan. Doesn't take too long when you've got the minus armor up, and the Vengeance aura up as well to boost damage output. So they should be able to take this relatively quick. Execration, not in the right spot to contest yet. And Dark Ascension's also on a 10-second cooldown, so it's not up in time. Aegis does go the way of 458. First Aegis of the game, no Shard. Would have been really nice to see that on 458, but 2 lives on the Slark. They have been able to manage Slark's 1 life. At the least they managed to hold out and kind of force them in awkward situations. I don't know if they have enough follow-up to deal with 2 lives, unless they manage to isolate that Slark. So key thing is forcing OB.Neon away from that big pause 1. Maybe punish 458 for kind of playing solo. Bob is trying to, but doesn't have enough.
458 just pouncing through the tree line, almost finds his target, but just barely off. half a second. Execration, nowhere near out of this game yet. It's only a 2k net worth advantage right now to OB.Neon. Ara, might run right into Makoto, but it looks like he was not scouted out, and in fact the sleight of fist doesn't end up landing. Meanwhile, towards the top side, line has been drawn and smoke is there. Zhao Yu, he'll lead the charge towards Tino on that PL. Tino gonna try for the TP. Can they get the vision? Not quite. Does make it out, and they drop absolutely everything to try and find him. They will not get what they wanted. Like, they might get
Nice
BDZ,
dodge.
who stuck around to try and clear the creep wave. But it seems like a bit of a tactical feed here from BDZ. I'm sure he knew he was going to die. Just forcing all these rotations up top is going to make it worth his time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing this build up from 458. He was queuing Radiant's World, but not anymore still. Raging.
Well, these pounces are so hard to land, especially with a Night Stalker. Still, they will get the second one. Dark Ascension going to be forced out. 458, how good is your aim, sir? He's got another pounce up, but Raging now over the tree line, going to make it way too difficult to find him. Instead, RR looks to reinitiate now for his team. So they will make the jump in onto Hustler, and Pop comes in with the Resonant Pulse. Then the Aether Remnant connecting onto 458, but 458, he's going to move in with the pounces again. Can he land one on Bob? Looks like he won't be able to find him.
Nice hit and run there for Execration. They kill off. And, you know, it's just a support kill, not a big kill, but all of this time they're forcing aggression outside of your high ground. Means that, you know, you're ticking away at the Aegis. You're not able to really take objectives for the side of OB.Neon, and they haven't been clumping up for the engagements they want. So it's giving a lot of room for Execration to still play this game. And the lead of OB.Neon is just less than 1k. The net worth has closed out. Our PL is hitting the spikes. The Shard and the Aether Lens is up, so the Illusion spam's in play. The Heart is up next, and once you have that, the Illusions are going to be very hard to deal with. How tanky you are.
Mid lane, Bob getting caught out here. Zhao Yu will lock him down a little bit longer, but ultimately he is going to prove to be a little bit too tanky. Raging Potato, though, may not be. Does have a BKB up, so they aren't going to make the jump anyway. OB.Neon, I mean, they still control the map. The problem is the net worth has just closed so much now. And Tino's going to become a real big issue. Shards and the Aether Lens, and now the Heart to be worked on. OB.Neon, you've got to start to ask yourself whether they've missed their timing. Is Genuel going to be caught out? Make the counts in, and immediately blow up the Undying, as they've even found Hustler on that Keeper. Will-O-Wisp will not be enough to hold them back. Zhao Yu, he'll make it out, but I think you are starting to see the turning point of this game, at least for Execration.
Yeah, they've rode through the rougher early game because of how strong OB.Neon's early game lineup is with a Coddle support and Undying. There's a lot of forward presence in these fights. As the game goes on, their impact sort of shrinks, and
Kodo, nice remnant out. Bit of a close call there for him. You were saying, John?
It's the timings, mainly on, I think the supports are the big issue. Like, you can still contribute a lot with a Pangolier and Snap, like your team fight spells still keep contributing, but for the Coddle, his damage scales off and you don't go Dagon. Have to watch his movement out.
Oh, Pounce, Raging Potato, does get pounced on eventually. He's still got the Dark Ascension off, but now the chains are there and he just gets locked down. 458 does secure the killers. Now Januel will also die to RR. RR just going to try and roll his way out. However, double chains in the back lines. They've got BDZ and they've got Tino. And Tino, he's dropping real time fast. He is not anywhere near tanky enough. BDZ to drop. Bob's the only one left. He'll try to chase down Hustler and does get the kill, but now needs an exit strategy. There's 458. He's going to land the pounce. Step charge in one. Simulate. Magic Missile will follow him down. He does get stunned up, and 458 has the pounce. Meanwhile, Makoto does get the Pango. Can they get the vision on the Void Spirit? Not quite. Bob's still juking and trying to get out. Aether Remnant will lock him down mid-pounce. Bob, he's buying so much time, and they aren't going to be able to get him. Bob will return the tip towards Hustler. And so he should.
He manages to really buy out a lot of time there for Execration. Because of that, after that team fight win, OB.Neon couldn't really go for a tier 2 push down mid, couldn't line up for an objective, and it just ends up being sort of just a net worth trade there for OB.Neon. They still don't get too much gold as well, as they only pull out less than 1k, still maintaining evenly. The game has kind of stalled out to this point for a while. They've held this sort of even state, although Xiaoyu
Raging. Swapped in. Xiaoyu has another stun back up that is silenced, but as soon as 458 lands the pounce, nothing else matters. 458, I believe that's a nullify he's building up, right?
Yep, should be, because that should help him get further control out. No, it's a Radiance. He actually is going for the Radiance. I saw this queued up a while ago. I didn't think he'd follow through, but Radiant Slark.
Okay.
I guess to deal with the illusions and the mischance is pretty darn good.
Tino, Will-O-Wisp is actually going to catch him out. They do get the pounce off as well. 458 on target once again. It's Tino. He's going to have to fight back, but there's just no chance. There is absolutely zero chance of survival. And I said it was meant to be the turning point a few minutes ago, John. Apparently OB.Neon disagree.
Yeah, I think as long as this heart isn't finished up, you're not going to feel safe. Even with the heart finished up, the magic damage output with the Sleight of Fist spam that you do get on the Ember plus Coddle combination, it's a lot to have to deal with. And you can see how confident 458 is now. He's got that Radiance up. It's actually done.
BDZ in. They've got 458 controlled up. They might be able to burst him, and they do. Bob gets the kill, but Makoto's going to try and punish for this. Meanwhile, Raging on the backlines right onto Hustler. They're also onto Xiaoyu, but both are going to survive as Makoto now being caught out by the Aether Remnant. Will force out his own BKB. Will-O-Wisp to drop. Makoto, he's got some more control now and does at least get the Pangolier kill. But they still lose 458. And it's not going to feel like a great trade for OB.Neon. It might be about time for them to get the hell out.
I think there was a bit of a mistake coming through there. The swap from Xiaoyu didn't actually grab his Slark out. I believe it actually took Bob in the middle, so unfortunate. If they did manage to save their Slark, it might have ended up a lot better with their frontline damage, with a Radiance Burn going through in that entire fight. Good on Execration to capitalize on that mistake, and they still hold the game steady. Again, just a 1k lead here.
And Makoto gets stunned up here by BDZ. Cookie is there, and well, BDZ with his shards has been very, very influential now. We saw it with 458 getting caught out, and now Makoto. Maybe not expecting the stun out from the shards. The follow-up cookie just proves to be a bit too much here from BDZ. OB.Neon, while they are outplaying the side of Execration, they still have to be very, very cautious because this is still anyone's game. In fact, Dota Plus, right now, 52% the way of OB.Neon, but 48% the way of Execration. Just so even.
Yeah, it's down to the fact that you're at 22 to 32 here. You don't have a massive net worth lead on OB.Neon despite all these kills. It's bouncing around with Execration. The PL has still managed to keep up. They have had some answers for the PL, but that heart is very close now. Just about 200 gold off, 100 gold off. And once that heart timing's up, you have to work double time to keep that damage on the PL.
Hustler, nice initiation from Bob. Gets him a free gem from that Keeper of the Light, and of course they'll secure another kill here for Execration. And Tino, just a couple hundred gold away from that vitality booster to finish off that Heart of Taras. We'll see if that's going to make the difference here for Execration to be able to start really pushing back hard against OB.Neon.
Yeah, and it's going to give them much more to play with. For OB.Neon's part, I think they need to give 458 more items. Like I don't know if the Radiance is going to do enough. Like, right, the burn is good against illusions. The mischance will help him tank up. He's still dying in the middle if he does get caught out. Like, the Scotty with the stats should help the cause, but the farm's not coming out fast enough anymore for this Slark. So the timings just don't quite line up compared to the PL once this heart is up, it's just a lot more difficult to contend.
Xiao Yu, nice swap back on 458. This time he does manage to land it, but 458, he's going to jump in now onto RR. They've got the Pango. They should have enough to burst him down, but Xiao Yu, he'll drop on the same side of the tournament. And there's now the Slark. Where are we going? 458, he'll turn back in onto Tino. Tino, he'll try to survive through it. They're going to just man fight this one, but no, he's going to try back now. He knows he can't really fight the Slark at the moment, as BDZ is going to drop, but they've got 458 down. They have got the Slark they wanted, and now Makoto is going to be in pretty big danger. They'll try to help him out, but Bob just jumps right in. 458, he commits the buyback, but the rest of his team's already dead. He'll keep trying to chase down Tino, but he'll be surrounded by illusions. The man fight begins again, but Raging is going to interfere. 458, he will not be left alone. That'll be a dieback on your Slark. And Bob now, can he find another? It's just been so good on this Void Spirit. Hustler, he's gone. Tino, he'll claim the triple kill. And this is just a really disastrous team fight now for OB.Neon. They get a dieback on the Slark, and you look at that net worth now, John. Suddenly 10k the way of Execration.
Yeah. Props to Execration for just playing on edge there. They managed to save Tino. It's just so hard to catch up with a heart. The Illusion Army is surviving through the Maelstrom procs, and they've got a massive opening. They can push high ground. After taking maybe one Rax, they can go back for Roshan next and just kind of go from there. Like, they can't go for more than one lane of Rax here. Tier 2 still stand on either side, but this is going to put a big dent in OB.Neon's game plan. They're always going to have to watch this one lane. They do have the Keeper of Light to manage the lane, but you kind of want that guy around for the healing and for the control with the Ignis Fatuus. So going to have to work double time to start to kind of pushing back that mid lane to get space out. And Execration, they choose to play safe, although the swap's there, but...
Yeah, Tino, he's just going to rush in for this. He won't mind the swap. Xiao Yu's going to be okay anyway. He won't die. And if you're Execration now, I mean, you're looking to get back, farm up the whole map, maybe take the Roshan. You've still got some outer towers to take for this Radiant side. So there's absolutely no rush. And indeed, they are going to go back for that Roshan now. There's a free shards up. I'm sure Bob or RR would appreciate that at the moment. Or even Raging could take it on the Night Stalker. Yeah, why the hell not?
I swear we haven't seen that Hunter in the Night active.
Nope.
The creep kill. I think we've seen it once. Used as a pseudo Midas in 20 minutes. Doesn't feel amazing. Still, Aegis goes to Bob. They realize Tino's probably never going to die now with a heart up. And they do give the shard towards Bob as well. So, no spicy Night Stalker memes here, Mike. No. Unfortunately, we will just have the large dissimulate for Bob. He has been really hard to handle now when he jumps in. Like the Ags with a silence, just forcing out the BKBs early. The follow-up control then on those shorter BKBs can just punish OB.Neon for having to be preemptive. 29 to 34, 17k lead for the side of Execration. OB.Neon, off the back of that one fight, have started to really lag behind. And they just need to find a way to handle the PL, get some damage off. Like the Slark damage, it builds up over time, but holding a PL for that long is a tall order. He's always going to have Dissimulate up and running quickly. There's a massive army constantly hitting you while you try to focus on the real one. It just makes it difficult to fully commit onto Tino. You might want to kill off the softer targets. Kill off the Night Stalker, kill off the Void Spirit if you can. Take away those big pieces of control, and Neon can maybe take a couple of fights afterwards.
Raging, Dark Ascension pop. They're going to go high ground again. Bob, he's in. They got Xiao Yu. That'll be avenged dead, it looks like, as Xiao Yu has no way out. They even found Januel in the back. They want to go after that Bench Illusion, and they'll get it. Or they won't. It'll get to the fountain and be able to heal up, so no buyback committed. In fact, RR gets swapped in. He does roll back out, though. The pounce right into the 8th Remnant as Bob again jumping back in. With the Simulate back out, but now the pounce. 458. He's got the target he wanted. Tino, meanwhile, right after the Rax, will turn around for the Tombstone, but Bob, he's still in trouble. He'll go down, but the Aegis is the only thing that really goes down as Makoto. Let's back off just in the nick of time. Tino, where are we going? Well, man fight 458, who's trying to chase down Bob, but Bob will always dissimulate away. Goes back in. Remnants forward again by Makoto, but they won't have the damage. Still Tino couldn't finish off the top barracks. And it seems as though Execration aren't feeling completely confident to keep this push going, so they will end up backing out.
Yeah, there is enough in that tight spot for OB.Neon to kind of abuse. Like, the Illuminate is starting to line up in more heroes because it's such a constrained area. So they can't fully focus on just taking the objectives. OB.Neon are still severely behind, though. 19k. They can't really look for a push opportunity yet. There's no Roshan to play for. The Octarine is finished up on Bob. So he's got lower cooldowns. He's got more uptime and spamming out the Resonant Pulse, spamming out the Astral Step, keeping it very hard to still catch out this Void Spirit. And it's just going to that point in the game where, towards late game, it feels like Execration's heroes with items are a lot scarier than the heroes on OB.Neon. Now, there's a nice spike back for Mikoto. When you refresh back up, it does feel like the Ember's right-click damage with a Sleight of Fist isn't there. And I think you're going to have that mix of Remnant spamming and Sleight of Fist spamming to win these fights.
Mid lane, Magic Missile out. They've got the PL again. Tino, he's lost half his HP, but he is going to be able to just get out of there and maybe disengage and come back in later. Raging. Jump in, crippling Cure out. Got the Slark. Nice swap out from Zhao Yu, though. Will allow the Shadow Dance to be committed from 458, but they need to leave right back to the fountain. Or maybe not. Zhao Yu still trying to fight Bob. He's in. They've got Makoto, and he's got no buyback. Zhao Yu also caught out. He does have buyback on the Venge, but he still has the illusion. It won't matter, though. Swap in, Tino. Let's get stunned up. He's still very, very tanky, however, in 458. Just gets deleted by the PL. In fact, Tino, he wants to dive the fountain, and that'll be enough to call the GG.
Oh, man.
Yep.
That was a really back and forth game between Execration and OB.Neon. OB.Neon, it all boiled down to that one moment mid, where they lost the team fight, and then 458 bought back and ran in basically by himself. And that was the turning point for Execration. They had a massive net worth lead after that point. I think you can see it in the graph before switching out. Like, go to the graph, you can see the exact moment at around 38. Yeah, around 38 minutes, so that's when that fight broke out, and didn't quite line up for OB.Neon. Unfortunately for them, it does end up in draw. Great plays from Execration, holding out that rougher start, building up on Tino. We talked about it while the game happened, but when they were taking those fights, and even if they were dropping heroes, the PL was still building up. He never lagged behind the Slark in a big way, and PL just kind of took over that late game.
Absolutely. What is our next series, by the way? I'm currently dealing with some production issues, to say the least.
Yeah.
Do you have the next series on hand, John?
Yes, I do. We do have Boom versus Yangon Galactico. So this is the revitalized Boom, the Filipinized Boom, right? Palos, Yopaj, FBZ, Skem, play hard. Looking forward to see how this one works out. You know, this is going to be, again, this is the day of finding how these new Southeast Asian rosters fare. Yeah. I'm keen to see how Boom does. Of course, Yangon, they played in lower Div C Season 1. They placed bottom 8, so they weren't there for Season 2, and we'll have to see. They did climb through open qualifiers if they can hold up against Boom.
Okay, I'm very excited. We are going to head off to a short break, but right after that break, we're going to be back with Boom Esports against Yangon Galacticos. Hopefully I pronounced that right. We'll find out soon.